Welcome everyone. Welcome back to Fusion's Final Fantasy X walkthrough. The name of this part is Part 1.5. Instead of just creating a brand new part, calling it Part 2, Zanarkand and the Bhed territory kind of coincide with one another as the introductory sections of the game. So that's why I'm keeping it within the same section of itself. So to briefly go over what we've done so far, as we started last night, by clicking on New Game, doing everything from all the dialogues to learning how to battle. I spoke a little bit about Orin and Titus, who we've met so far, a little bit about them, their back history, their skill sets, etc. So now we're going to continue on, and where I saved last time was right at the little bridge before you drop down, which you'll see in a minute. And again, keep in mind that when I do load or save something, the application will give you a blue screen. Sometimes I don't like YouTube not showing my stream to me as I'm... There we go. So, there we are. See, there we go. There we go. So at least I know now it's working correctly. Sometimes I just gotta trust it. Let's see. Something I didn't go over yesterday was the menu options, of course, because you can't select the menu right up off the start of the game. So when you're here at the main section where you're running around doing all your adventuring, if you hit the triangle button, it'll bring you to your menu. So you have items, abilities, overdrive, status, config, and help. In the help section, it'll teach you all the basic controls, the terms of it, and you can use this part for referencing up to this point on what you've seen. So, and it will update over time. For the config, this is where you can change the music back to the original if you want it, or leave it on whatever you chose. You can include subtitles, you can have the names of the characters when they're talking listed. The cursor is personal preference. Memory will leave, basically, when you end a battle, whatever the last selection was that you had for each character will remain there. That's memory. I like default because I like starting over, so to speak. This will display the help window, of course, as it says up top. Aeons, I moved to short. It will always give you, the very first time you summon an Aeon, it will always give you the first full sequence. And then after that, it shortens it, so it kind of speeds up time. This is for your map, and this is for the vibration. I will leave that on. I don't know why it was turned off. But, okay, so, to continue on, I'm just going to get right into it. From where we saved, there is a chest over here to the left before you continue going straight. This would be a high potion, as seen. Then you come back, there's nothing else here. And here's the part I was talking about a little bit earlier, where you fall down. This is a two-part, again, another mini boss fight, if you will. Part 1, you will be fighting 3 of these little fish that you just saw swimming around. They're easy. You just one-hit them. One thing I will not be doing is pronouncing the names of the enemies. So I don't know how are supposed to be pronounced, but once you get to this point, of course, you can move around, so just keep going straight. It'll initiate the sequencing for the battles. And this nice little cinematic, well, not really cinematic FMV. So those are the guys you're going to fight. And basically, you're going to kill 2 of them once and leave 1 alive, and you'll see what happens after that. And the boss fight. It's the Sahagin. There you go. I'll call it the Sahagins. Screw it. That's what we're going to say. So for here, you just keep attacking. Very simple. Again, very early in the game. You don't have to worry about certain things, as you'll see once we hit the save. And now you leave 1 left, and your quote-unquote boss enters. This is Geo Sengeo. This is your other boss fight in this section. Now, for this boss fight, it's very simple. Same concept that you had when fighting the first Sin Spawn, where the first Sin Spawn kept using Demi and it would take away a fourth of your life. Every time Geo hits you, it'll take away half of your life. So he can never, and he can bring you down to 1, but he will never ultimately kill you. So all you have to do is attack 3 times, and that's the end of the battle. That's it. Now it'll begin another, little movie here with Geo chasing Titus, so on and so forth, and this leads into the next part of the Elden territory.
I had made it out of the frying pan and into the freezer. I thought I was gonna die in this place.
Alright, so after all that's over, you have control of Titus again. You're just going to walk up these steps, this nice little puzzle steps here, into this room.
Need fire.
So as you see, you walk up to the front here, you can examine it. This obviously basically tells you what you need in order to create a fire for Titus. So now we go searching. First, you come down here near the save point. I'm not going to save, I don't need to, but typically my advice for you from here on out is every save sphere you get to, save. You'll get a lot of save crystals along the way, save spheres, so just use them. It's beneficial. Now in this room, keep walking straight, you'll get the examine button. This is your flint. And that's everything that's in here. You can search around, there's nothing else, very small room. So now you got to go and get something to light on fire. So before we do that, we're going to come to this right spot here. There's a nice little hidden chest over here with an actually valuable potion, an X potion. And for Final Fantasy goers, you know what that is. For everybody else that is not familiarized, an X potion fully heals you to the... in this game, you can break 9,999,000 life. So an X potion only cures you for that amount, 9,999. Then what you're going to do from that section, which I forgot to tell you, is go over here to this door, which is right to the left of where we just were. And you're going to come down, because it's another hidden chest. This is an ether. And then you're going to go up the steps a little bit. Right when you get to the first lamp here, you'll see here's your withered bouquet, which you're going to use to light on fire. And then you're going to keep going back. Now, at this point, you could just go back to the campfire, but of course, for searching purposes for items, you go back through here, and you're going to take this long trek to the right, and you'll find another chest with some more high potion. Right. And now, that we've obtained. That's all the treasure there is here in this spot. Very, very linear map here, of course. So now we go back to the center of the map where that nice little X is. And now we go into a nice little dialogue, flashback, etc. So you enjoy the dialogue, and now I will return right when it's finished. And right when it's over will be our technically first self-control boss fight.
I need food. What do you want?
It was a bad call. Your team lost because of you.
You came to say that?
It's been 10 years. I thought you'd be crying.
Who, me?
You cried.
Hey, wait! Don't go out on me! Just hold on. I'll get more wood.
And I'm back, and here is your first full self-control boss battle. This is Click. This is what I mean by self-control is you can actually die here. So it's a very linear boss battle. Basically,
give me a break.
You're going to see. Ooh. This is why you should touch every save crystal. Just saying. The save crystals or the save spheres on top of saving the game also heal you permanently. So I'm just going to. For me, and I will tell you this: potions, high potions, etc., become very redundant later on in the game, of course. So using them early on is okay. I would implore you to, of course, touch every save crystal, even if you're not saving. And use potions when you want, but for the most part, you'll have a healer, etc. So, but for this fight, you're really just going to attack until the second phase happens, and you'll see what happens then. For now, you just keep attacking. And of course, at this point, save when you're roughly around 100. And there you go. So Titus winds up, evading, which is what he's supposed to do. And you just keep attacking. That should trigger. Alright, so after a certain amount of damage inflicted, which is roughly 500 to 700 damage, will inflict the second phase of this, where you get another member for your party, like Orn was in it in the first part. Here we meet some members of the Bhed. Okay, so the person that joined your party is not one of those four, it's her. So this is the infamous Riku to those that know her. To everybody else that doesn't, she's a famed character of Final Fantasy X and Final Fantasy X-2. So she will join your party, and now it becomes a little introduction on her ways of battling. The redundant thing about this is that you only get to play as her for right now, and then for the next part of the Bhed territory, and then you don't see her again until you're halfway done with what you're trying to do. So for right now, they tell you only have one option, so you can't go left or right. Well, you could, but you can't use any options here. So you have to do her ability, which is using items, and in this case a grenade. And what I like to do is, after I use the grenade the first time, I will do nothing but steal with her. to obtain as many grenades as possible. So, and in this case, of course, I will use a potion just to heal Titus. Again, I'm not worried about how many I have left. I will keep stealing. And I believe that may be all of the grenades that he will be giving me. Maybe we'll try again. Yep, couldn't steal anything. So we'll use we'll just basically attack now. I like to save the grenades. And again, I will continue until... So I have gotten lucky and gotten a third, which is a very, very rare or a glitch occasion. But you basically want to save the grenades for the very next boss fight, which is... It's pretty cool that you get 4 boss fights within, I would say, a half an hour's time period. But... Click doesn't have that much hit points, so it's very easily taken down, which you should be taken out either the next round or the round after. Oh, 4 times. You should die this one. There it is. Very simple boss fight, but as you see, you can die in this part, so, you know, it's good to be mindful of that on this first fight. And the next boss fight is a very interesting fight in itself. So now we walked in to that battle. Rika walked in and had 2 grenades. She used 1, stole 2 more, so she's got 3. You're better off going into the next boss fight with 6 to 8 grenades, I would say, and you'll get into mini encounters along the way when you're going to get to the next boss. So just keep stealing, and you'll definitely obtain what you need for that boss fight easily. Now here, you see more of the Al-Bhed language. So, you know, obviously we don't understand what they're saying. Fed means stop. Oh, I'm sorry, Fed means wait. So, here basically they want to, just to give you an interpretation, the Al-Bhed wanted to kill him thinking he was a fiend in disguise. And she just said Kuno, which means sorry. She basically stopped him, you know, saying, what if he's not, blah, 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 blah. So they take him hostage under their control. Now, from here on out, you get to experience real-time random encounters, and you really start to see it more and more once you start to leave the Isle of Bhed, which is the next section, and you'll see the infamous battle, randomized encounter battle system from there. But for now, this is, again, basically what the entire beginning of the game is like. You're getting a feel for everything. They give you a boss battle here and there, a couple random encounters.
Hey, that hurts.
Basically what to expect, you know, from a Final Fantasy.
Whoa.
But
okay.
Here you get to meet, well, you get to see Riku again, but then you'll also meet her brother, which, funny enough, his name is Brother. And here he basically wants him to work for them.
Right, whatever.
Tuli Hood Kabeg?
I said I don't understand.
Fed! He said you can stay if you make yourself useful.
You understand me? All right, I'll work.
All right, here a few things interesting happen. So, of course, we're going to go and touch the save crystal. I will save it this time, of course. So forgive the blue screen of PlayStation death. And the game is saved. Okay. Now back onto the main screen. Now, when you get here, very important, right over here, you'll see this is your very first Al-Bhed primer, and it tells you that it's translated. The letter Y in Al-Bhed is the letter A in the English language. So then you will start to achieve ranks, of course, the more you find, etc. So from there, you're done. Come back here, talk to this guy. You'll never understand what he says, but he gives you 3 potions. This guy doesn't do anything. He just yells at you. Brother, same concept. You know, but here is possibly the most interesting part.
Oh, almost forgot.
Of course, it's a tutorial. This is going to show you the sphere grid. Now this, as I mentioned in the first part, this is how you level in Final Fantasy X. What happens is after every battle, you gain S levels, sphere levels. So this is just a little part of what the sphere grid looks like. I will show you what the sphere grid looks like once we're out of the tutorial. But basically, you can read what's on the screen. So select the sphere grid from the main menu. The cursor appears at the selected character's position, etc. Blah, 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 blah. So you can use the analog stick or the D-pad to move everything. And I'm just going to skip through all of this because, again, this takes a little bit of getting used to. But literally, you spend 10 minutes on the sphere grid, you'll understand everything. Very simple, and I can explain it in a lot quicker of a time period than watching this tutorial. So basically what happens is as I said, every time you battle you gain some AP. AP then is consumed towards sphere levels. So once you hit the cap to level, you'll gain a sphere level, which allows you to move one circle to the next. And so the object is to get in range of these special spheres all throughout the sphere grid. Okay, so this right here that we're focused on, this is a sphere. It's an ability sphere that can teach Titus the cheer ability, which raises the party's strength and defense, and you can use it multiple times, which the book and a lot of other people tell you to do. But it's useful in the beginning, not so much later on in the game. So let's get through this. This is one of the parts I will skip ahead, so just so I can show you hands-on myself through my tutorial. And then as you see, you can switch between characters hitting the L1 and R1 buttons. And then you hit on the PS4 controller, there's this big button in the center. That's considered your select button. So that's what you would hit for select. Now, in the main menu, triangle, sphere grid. And then you get to select which character. So we'll go to Titus. So this is the entire sphere grid. It is very large, very, very large. So you see every character has the sphere grid. The sphere grid is the exact same for every character, except each character starts at a different part on the sphere grid. So here, if you follow my cursor, this is all Titus's sphere grid section, and it ends here with quick hit, which is exceptionally useful later in the game. So that's his entire sphere grid. So Riku's, of course, comes along basically here, this little section, here, and ends off with the most known Riku ability and bribe, which we'll get to very, very much later in the game. And as we acquire new characters, I will tell you and show you where they begin and everything like that. So we saw Auron. Auron starts here in this section, comes up here, over there, excuse me, and comes over to here, up, around, and ends basically right over here. And his last ability is two of them, which is Entrust or Sentinel. So we'll gain other characters and we'll go through it then. But anyway, so to continue back on, so when you go to the sphere grid, I have one sphere level to use at this current time. So you hit the X button and you have the option to move or to use. So first we're going to move up to the next one. Now we can't move down because in order to move down, you need to have a level 1 key sphere, right? And you'll obtain them, of course, via boss battles, random encounters, chests, etc. along the way. So you can't go anywhere where there's a level 1. So if you see over here, there's a level 3. You can't get those little spheres over there until you acquire a level 3 key sphere, which is later on in the game. So for now, we move up here, and then you accept it. It'll ask you, do you want to move to this location? Hit yes. And then you select X again, and this time you're going to use the ability called, ironically enough, Use. And here, in this subsection, as you progress through the game, you're going to obtain all of the spheres needed. There's there's 5, but there's 4 main ones. The ability, speed, mana, and power. And then there's a 5th one called Fortune. So Fortune is for these spheres right here, which is for luck. That's all they're used for, but they are very, very scarce throughout the sphere grid. So we're going to use the ability sphere on the ability node to learn cheer. So there's many different kinds of nodes on the map, okay, on the sphere grid. So here, this is defense. This is strength. This is another ability. Okay, this is agility. This is accuracy. This is also another ability, more or less a skill. This is, even though you can't really see it. Let's see if I can find another one. This is an MP. Okay, now there's 3 different ones of these: magic defense, magic. Yeah, so 2 of them. So magic and magic defense. Then there's hit points. Then there's white magic, which is here, which also are the same as black magic. So this for Yuna is cure and Asuna, and then you'll see more. And you'll see over here, where is it? Right here, is your black magic spells, which are highlighted in black, of course. So thunder, fire, blizzard, and water, blah, 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 blah. And you'll gain all the upgraded level 2 and level 3s that way. So it's a very simplistic concept. Now, a little trick is let's say right now I have 3, right, sphere levels. So the object is to get in the center, or right in the middle of 3 spheres. So 1, this would cost 1, this would cost 2, and this would be 3. So if I were to have 3 sphere levels, I'd move here because I can use a sphere to get this one, and this one at the same time. So it speeds up the process a little bit. You can go one by one if you want, but you know, advanced users can just scatter around the sphere grid as quick as possible. So again, this is how you level. Okay, you go around the whole sphere grid. Then there's going to be certain sections you can't access at first, again, because of key spheres or key locks, and that's okay. So you'll obtain them later on. So it's kind of a catch-22. You can level up, right, to gain more levels and abilities and traits and skills. At the same time, you're also going to be skipping some spots. At this point, for this entire game, it is not a problem to skip at first. So just make sure when you move around, you see right here between this node and this node is a nice little blue that was highlighted. To obtain the trophy on this game for Perfect Sphere Master, you have to activate every single node, including these blank ones, which in order to activate the blank ones, you have to have a specialized sphere. There is a strength sphere, a magic sphere, a HP sphere, etc., etc. It goes on and on. So you will use them to fill in the empty nodes along the way. Just make sure you interact with every single node that you pass. Don't leave any turned over. Okay, so make sure you connect this blue line for Titus, green for Riku, red for Auron, etc. to every single node, and activate it and use it if you can. If not, don't progress further. Just keep accumulating sphere levels. It would be a pain in the butt later on if you think you finished the sphere grid and you come back and you miss one node, and it happens to everyone. So that's basically the sphere grid. I'm not going to waste any more time going over it. You will see me use the sphere grid a lot in this walkthrough. And the way I use the sphere grid is very simplistic. A lot of people may not like what I do with the upcoming character named Kamari, but it's what I do, and it works out better for me, and I just use him the way I use him. But with that being said, there's many different things you can do. All right, and you'll understand as you play the game more and more. So if you hit triangle, you get to see all of his stats at this current time. To exit out, you would hit the circle button and return to the main menu. You can also see the status of everybody in the status menu. And so to go over this real quick, there's overdrives. Of course, this is where you can see what their overdrives are. So Titus, as I said, I've already went into in the previous video. Riku's ability or overdrive is mix. She can combine 2 items together and create a devastating attack or an insane amount of healing, or do wondrous things that become absolutely incredible later on in the game. And you'll see, I will show you a list of combinations to use. But also an interesting thing on this is the set mode. Okay, so there is such things as modes in this game for overdrives. There's a bunch. Okay, so for currently we have Stoic. which means our overdrive gauge charges every time we take damage. There's a bunch of modes, one of which that I like is called Warrior. Warrior, your overdrive charges every time you deal damage. Okay? There's Healer, every time you heal an ally. There's Slayer, every time you kill an enemy. Every time, there's another one called Comrade, where every time an ally takes damage, you gain some of your overdrive. So there's a lot of different combinations. I don't think I'm going to, for the sake of the walkthrough, I'm not going to obtain every single overdrive mode. That will take a very, very long time. There's certain things you have to do, certain requirements that you have to meet. So in order to obtain Warrior, you have to deal a certain amount of damage. Slayer, you have to kill a certain amount of enemies. Healer, you have to heal a bunch of times. Comrade, you have to take a lot of damage over time. So there's just a bunch of requirements that need to be met that is almost impossible to do on a basic walkthrough version of this game. So with that being said, and again, we'll get into that as we continue on. Here you get to see all your abilities, etc., and your items. You can sort them. I like to auto-sort them. Equipment, you get to see all of them. I will auto. I always auto. And then here you get to see all of your key items. So you see how many beds I have. The Withered Bouquet and the Flint, which are key items. And there's that. Now, back onto the walkthrough finally. Once you're all said and done with that, talk to Riku again. Yeah, might as well. So.
We found some ancient ruins right beneath us. It's not active now, but there should still be some power left. We're gonna go down there and activate it. And then we should be able to salvage the big prize.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let's get to work.
Roger.
All right, so here you're underwater. And this now begins your exploration random encounters. Now, there are times I've gotten through this part without ever getting a battle. I don't understand. But from this section, what you're going to do, Riku obviously will be following you, is you want to dive. So you hold the circle button, and then you just pull the joystick down towards you and move down and just follow towards the red X. On your mini-map, your X is your objective. Sometimes. So again, just keep following the red X. And hopefully we'll get a battle here. And I'm actually I'm not going to hit the red X until I get at least 1 or 2 battles, because I do want more grenades for Riku. So we actually just, there we go. So there's your entrance to a random battle. With Riku, we will steal. There's only one enemy. And the idea is you can steal twice from an enemy. So at this stage, I can kill this piranha. Oh, it's a three piranha. So 3 piranhas need 2 hits. A 2 piranha needs 1. A 1 piranha needs 1. So in this case, then we get to steal again. Hopefully we'll get 2 more. Never mind. Didn't want to give it to us that time, so we'll just kill it. The idea is to steal twice. Normally, 9 times out of 10, you'll get the same item twice in a row. But there is a rare and a common steal for every enemy later on in the game, and you'll see that as we approach them. But for now, we have 5 grenades. I'm going to get into just one more battle, just to be safe. We will have one more random battle in there. Now, there's another good point. You're ambushed. That's where the enemy gets to go first. Steal. There's a grenade. You're going to attack. And you will be hitting a save crystal or save sphere before we fight the boss, so that works. We're going to steal again. Doesn't want to work today. Alright. That's lovely. And there's a speed sphere. So, alright. So we got 6 grenades, and I know we're going to get at least 2 more in here. So that's perfect. So we'll go ahead and continue on. Here's your save sphere. So we're just going to backtrack a little bit and hit the X button. We will save here. Alright, saving complete. Then you just walk up over here to this little terminal where the X comes up for the examine. Titus is going to smash his hand on it. Apparently that's how you fix electronics underwater. Then it's going to bring you to this little area. It's a very linear map again. You just follow everything that you see for the time being. At the end of this nice little tunnel, you'll get into your random encounter, which will be against 2 of the 3 set piranhas. And again, we're just going to steal with Riku, attack with Titus. We'll lose some health. Well, first time I've ever gotten ambushed. That's good. Well, Titus now has his overdrive, which is perfect. Alright, perfect. May wind up using a potion or 2 before we hit the boss fight, only because Titus is getting destroyed. So one down. There we go. That worked twice. So there's a chance it can work, but alright. Alright, so from here, you're going to go to that nice little X on the minimap, which you'll understand that the controller movement is very awkward. It's a memorized controller, so you just have to get used to that a little bit. But you come here, and you'll hit X. However, first, I am going to use a couple of potions, just to heal fully up. Again, I'm not worried about the potions. Plus, you'll get a little trick in one of the sections anyway. So here, examine. And this is going to initiate the release of our next boss. And there he is. So that's our boss fight, Tross. Okay, now Tross has basically it's a decent bit more hit points than Click did. So Tross has about 2,200 roughly. So again, you just walk down. Now at this point, just use those grenades you got. So we have 9 of them. We're going to use them. As you see, they deal a significant amount of damage. So here you can use Cheer to give yourself some defense, but again, you have potions. You have your overdrive, you know, which is what we're going to use. You're good to go. Not done. So, right there, about 750 damage has been done. And here, you're going to launch another 300. So, you know, you've done a decent amount of damage already of just about half his life. So he's going to go around. Now you get introduced to the sub-command menu. Where you get to utilize other things other than your overdrive, trigger commands. So where you would go for your overdrive, right? So her overdrive is mixed. Now you have standby. Standby, you just stand there and you gain some life. It'll, you know, help you out. So same concept here, stand. He's going to use his Nautilus charge, which hurts, you know, does a decent amount of damage. Again, use some more grenades. He's going to swing around again. Now this time, you get a different trigger command. So obviously you see right above the word attack, you see trigger command. So it's always good to know and to see what that means. So for Riku, we'll stand there, but for Titus, he gets the pincer attack. Basically, they're just going to corner him. And at this stage, he can't now run away, blah, 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 blah. But you know we've already dealt about 16 to 1,800 damage to him. So another grenade or 2 and an attack with Titus is going to end him off. Nope, that ended him actually, so we want to do a little bit more. Now the overdrive with Titus. So that's your boss fight. So very a little bit easier, you know, not much damage was inflicted. But that's it. That's this basically ends the Al Bhed territory. So now from here on out is nothing but basically talking. You know, getting to know Titus and Riku. Basically Titus explaining himself to Riku. You're going to follow Riku right here, by the way. There's nothing else to do down here. No items to obtain. You're going to have to maneuver yourself back to the ship. There is a chance to get into an encounter, but good 75% of the time you never really hit a battle. You just go right back to the ship. So it doesn't do you any good to level up here, if you will, because you only get one ability point, you know, every time you kill an enemy. So if you get one enemy of 3, you're not getting 3 ability points, you're getting 1. And in this game, you'll see another concept in the very next section, how to obtain AP for every character in your party. So here we're just going to swim over to the red X. You'll see all the other Al Bhed that are getting ready to go down to what we just uncovered. And there we go. So from here on out for this section, I won't need to speak. This is nothing but a, you know, as I said, it's going to be a big dialogue between Riku and between, and they haven't really said her name yet. You'll see what her name is as they're conversing here in a minute. But I'm just going to sit back, let you guys watch the dialogue. There'll be a point where I can move around. I'm just going to go and touch the save crystal and come back and talk to Riku, but that's it. And then once this section's over, I'll end the stream and we'll reopen it again very quick afterwards, because I am going to do the Isle of Bhed tonight as well. So stick around and I'll get to that part in a minute. See you soon.
Verfutra Irship! Dradanukt van een neker. Hoof, roofdu, tungadib. We, Wichita!
Hey! Hey, I helped out, didn't I? Huh. Hungry. Whoa! Right on.
Hey! It's 'cause you eat too fast. Hey!
Hello there. What is your name?
Riku?
Whoa! You really do understand. Woo-hoo-hoo! Huh? Why didn't you say so earlier?
I didn't get a chance to. Everyone thought we were a fiend.
We?
Oh, we means you.
Who are you guys anyway?
We're Al Bhed. Can't you tell? Wait, you're not an Al Bhed hater, are you?
I don't even know what an Al Bhed is.
Where are you from?
Zanarkand. I'm a blitzball player. Star player of the Zanarkand Abes.
Did you hit your head or something?
You guys hit me?
Oh, right. Do you remember anything before that?
So I told her everything there was to tell about Zanarkand. About life there, Blitzball, and Sin's attack. And about how Aaron and I were engulfed in this light. I just said things as they came to mind. But then I started to wonder. Did I say something funny?
You were near Sin.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, you'll be better in no time. They say your head gets funny when Sin is near. Maybe you just had some kind of dream?
You mean I'm sick?
Because of Sin's toxin, yeah.
You sure?
Yeah, there is no Zanarkand anymore. Sin destroyed it 1,000 years ago. So no one plays Blitzball there.
Huh? What do you mean, 1,000 years ago? But I saw Sin attack Zanarkand. You're saying that happened 1,000 years ago? No way!
You said... You play Blitzball?
Uh-huh.
You know, you should go to Luca. Someone might know who you are, or you might find someone you recognize.
Luca?
Huh. Okay, leave it to me. I'll get you to Luca. Promise. You'd rather stay here?
Uh-uh.
Okay, I'll go tell the others. Wait here. Oh, and one thing. Don't tell anyone you're from Zanarkand, Kay? Yevon says it's a holy place. You might upset someone.
Oh, uh-huh. My Zanarkand? Some kind of holy place? Yeah, right, I thought. Since when? Yevon? Sin? Luca? I thought Sin just took me to a faraway place, that I could go back in a day or two. But 1,000 years into the future? No way! Whoa!
Okay, I'm going to return at this part. This is basically the end of the stream here. You'll see Sin comes and attacks the outward ship. Now, while you're watching this, right when this scene is over, it's going to give me an option to save. And then end the stream. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fix the description of the video, etc. And then I'm going to set up the description for the next stream. Excuse me. And then I'm going to start that stream being part 2, Isle of Bhed. And at that point in Bhed, there's a lot more to do. There is a lot more dialogue, but there's a lot more. There's 3 more characters you'll obtain, a 4th that you'll get a glimpse of, and we'll go into detail. So that stream's going to be a bit longer, but you're going to be able to. I'm going to be able to go a lot more into detail about everything then. So be prepared for a longer stream, probably a couple hours on that one. So, but I'll still be able to give you all the details that I can. And again, I'll be reminiscing things, rehashing things as this walkthrough goes the way that it is. And I know that this walkthrough is a little bit different than most other walkthroughs. A lot of people just like to play the game, do what they do, and you follow what they do, right? But when you read the book, you're reading suggestions on what to do, pro tips, helpful hints, etc., where to get things, how to find them, what to do. That's kind of how I want this walkthrough to be. I want to be as descriptive as possible. I want to give you my ideas and my hints that are not written in the book and that are not easily accessible to newcomers and to even some gurus that have played the game. I know that there are people still to this day that teach me a thing or two about my game style, my gameplay, what I can do better to perfect this game. So this is just me giving that advice to you guys. Of course, this game becomes very, very nonchalant later on when you become overpowered and leveled up all the way, which you'll see. But getting to that point is grueling, and it's a struggle, and it's a lot of grinding, which is something I love. So for this stream, for this part, this is the end of part 1 and 1.5, the Bhed Zanarkand section. So we are going to save, and then I'm going to end the stream, and then we'll pick it right back up with the Isle of Bhed. So thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Questions or concerns, leave them in the comment section or read the description for my PlayStation tag and add, request, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. And I'll talk to you soon.